go.
All right, so let me actually go do the YouTube thing.
Going live, going live.
Yay!
We are. All right.
Yay!
Boom.
All right, so let
Oh,
me actually go do the
YouTube
YouTube
world.
thing.
Hi.
Oh, let me turn down the volume on my computer. Oh, you think I've done this before? All right.
Okay. Well, usually it's Jennifer in charge. Hi, everyone. It's me, Julia from Little Meadow Foxes. And
Hey, Helen from Little Metal Foxes in Florida. Woohoo!
woohoo, Helen and I are only 3 hours time zones apart instead
I
of
know.
9. And she's got the pink hair going on, and I've got the fuchsia top. It's like it's all matching.
That's right. We're color
Uh,
coordinating.
Jennifer is in the
In
air
transit.
in transit from Atlanta to Seattle. So we'll see her next week. But we have been getting all kinds of fun things from Impress Art. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about marking stamps and why you would want to do that, right? Because most of the stamps from Impress Art are stamps like this. They are coming in, well, most of the sets, I should say, have their own
Yes.
little boxes. And the set ones, which are all, I think, the signature line, they have text on them, right? And it says Impress Art signature, and then whatever the stamp is. This happens to be the numbers from the fauna set. And so this text tells you the orientation. You should have that text toward you when you're stamping to have the image on the bottom be correctly oriented when you've stamped it, right? So that's great.
Which I didn't know, which is awesome that that's a very handy thing to know.
It's a handy
Check
thing to
that
know.
out.
Now, some stamps, so the Impress Art stamps have, and the other thing that Impress Art does, which I love, is they actually put an image of what the stamp is on the stamp, which is
Yeah.
particularly useful for all of their many, many, many design stamps of one kind or another, right?
Yeah.
Because you're
Quick
not,
shout out. Hi, Valerie. Sorry.
you're not trying to just look at the face of the stamp and try to figure out, is that a leaf, is that a flourish, what is that? You can see what the actual thing is that it will do on the side of the stamp, so that's great.
Correct.
But some of their stamps and some and then the other thing is there are some stamps that will have what's called like a thumb notch. So some of the commercial stamps that you will get at like Harbor Freight, places like that, will have a little thumb notch. I think I have some here, hold on.
Which I also didn't know. That's awesome.
Yeah, so let's see, I think these, I lied. Those do not. I need to mark those now that I'm realizing that. These do, I think. So, yes. So these have a little notch, right, on one side. They don't
Ah,
have a
okay.
mark of what the stamp is. You're still going to have to look at the stamp face to see what it is. But you put your thumb in the notch, and then if you put your thumb in the notch, it's oriented correctly for you. So this particular set of stamps is a set of numbers. And in this one, the 6 and the 9, depending on whether you want
Oh, yes.
side up or upside down, you get 6 or 9, right? So just FYI, occasionally the notch, like if you're going to do a 9, you have to rotate it around so that the notch is on the backside. Okay, so any stamp like that that already is marked, you don't have to worry about. But there are plenty of stamps that don't have that. And Impress Arts carries a few stamps that fall into that category. And so they had sent me, and they come in like these little gray boxes like this. They had sent me some typewriter basic numbers. The numbers come in this cute little box like this.
Nice.
And then they have an uppercase and a lowercase that come in boxes like this. And these stamps are completely smooth, right? They don't have any marks on any side of them, right? So the only way you can tell what they are is to look at the shape. This is the A
Yeah.
on the bottom. So what you want to do is get these out, look at them, and get your orientation correct so you know which side is right side up, and then lay it down with that side facing up and put some like nail polish or something on it. So here's an example and I'm going to do this in a second. I put a little bit of nail polish on this one just so I would know this is the A from a different stamp set. And that way you'll know. right? Like I
Right.
had done this, like this stamp set. I think this came from, I don't know, Harbor Freight or someplace. And I had marked these with Sharpie marker, and that's great, but it gradually wears off. Or if, you have any, alcohol or acetone, it'll take it off. So I think nail polish is a better choice. You can just put a
Mhm.
little dot, or you can, paint a little on the end. Um, the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is uh, two other things, and I'm actually going to get into my camera here
Okie dokie.
so you can see, and we can
Little
show
demo time.
demo time. I get to use my, come on, you get to use my little handy dandy camera. You can see how things work in our classes. All right, so these are some of the stamps that I had laid out. So occasionally you'll have a stamp where you're not 100% sure of what the orientation is. And so in those cases, so for example, this is the N and the O in this set. So you can see with the O in this set, you want to be sure that, because it's slightly oval, and so you want to be sure
Right.
you got the orientation right. It's easy, it's easy to screw up, right? Like the D, it's like you're looking at it backwards. So if you're not sure about which orientation it should have, get yourself a little test piece of material and test it, right?
Yep.
And make sure that you got the orientation that you want. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
before you actually start
right.
stamping on the real piece.
Exactly. So it's like I can stamp that on there, and then it's like, oh, look, my O is in the right orientation. And I'm going to do, and then, you're going to put it down. I'm going to do my N here too, just to make sure that, because this is a serif font. And so I wanted to make sure, like, oh yeah, it looks, okay. So see how, yeah, I think it has a
There you go.
little serif on both ends that is the same. But you know what? I'm going to flip it over and try it the other way and make sure that,
Right, because on a capital N and a typewriter face like that, the serif should be on the left hand vertical and on the top of the right hand vertical, but not on the bottom of the point
yeah,
on the right hand side.
had to move it over because it's on this fluffy thing, and so it's not
Yeah.
hammering quite as nicely. Okay, so here are my,
Yes, so that is the two on the left are the correct orientation.
okay, right. So this one does actually have three serifs, right? I didn't stamp it super well, but yeah. So basically what Helen's saying is that this spot here, this is what you're saying, right, Helen? That this little serif here and this little serif here should both be on the left. Whereas
Correct.
on this one, they're over here on the right. So I had the stamp originally upside down,
Correct.
right? So I need to make sure that I have it right side up. So yeah, both of the little serifs are on the left. So I need to mark this side as the top. All right, and I think that's the only one that I was a little concerned. Well, I should check the X, because the X might be the same, and the Z. I think the Z might be identical.
Yeah, the Z is identical. The X might be identical as well.
Right. But the N, we wanted to be certain. Yeah, the Z looks like it's identical, so it's fine as long as it's right side up. I mean,
The
it's
only other one that is a lowercase u versus a lowercase n, it might be the same or it might be different depending on how the font was created.
right, and this is uppercase. So here's my uppercase X. So it looks like the X is all the same.
Mhm.
Might be ever so slightly wider.
Yeah, it's wider on the bottom than on the top for the actual cross, the angle.
Right. So I think I've got this right side up. Because I think I did, yeah, right. Because this, like I turned it and did the stamp this way. So this is the bottom. So this is the side that should be towards you. All righty. Okay. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to point out, so I have them laid out on this tray here on a piece of paper towel, and I actually separated the tools a little bit because it's going to make it easier. I'm just using, regular old nail polish. It's going to make it easier to paint each one without having it drip down.
Yep.
But the other thing I wanted to point out is that all of these tools, if they're being made overseas, if they're coming from Asia or they're coming from Europe, they usually have to come across the ocean in a container ship.
Right.
And so they're going to come when they arrive. You can see how it has a little oil on the bottom. This is perfectly normal that they would have oiled these tools before they pack them to make sure they don't have any rust on them when they arrive.
Yeah, no corrosion.
No corrosion. And I did find one stamp, I think one of the really big ones from Impress Arts had a tiny little dot of rust on it. And if you have that, just take a little piece of sandpaper and just sand it off, right?
Yep.
That's all you need to do. Okay, so this is the 2. So I'm going to set that down there. And I just need to wipe off the oil on these. So basically you would just wipe off the oil on all, because the oil isn't going to hurt anything. And you could leave it there if you wanted. It just makes it slippery. So it makes it hard for you to hold the stupid punch, right? That's the 5. And then what I was doing was cleaning off each individual one, which I don't need to go through this whole process to show you. There's the 8. Okay, and so with the 8, you can see the bottom is definitely fatter.
Yes.
So I definitely want that side closer to me, right?
The circle on the 8 is going to be a bigger circle on the bottom than on the top.
Right, exactly. I'm just going to pull the rest of these out of here and just lay them aside, because what I wanted to point out is that you can see there's oil down in.
Oh, yep.
So you want to take, some tissue or paper towel or something and get down in here and sop that up, right? And get that out, because otherwise it's just going to re-oil your things, which again won't hurt them,
No.
bit. It's just that it makes it slippery for you to handle it, right? So I'm going to have to spend a little more time getting that clean. And then all you want to do is just, paint a little paint onto, I try not to get too much. You could do 2 layers. This is fairly thin, but it's like you don't need a whole lot for it to be visible. So I just kind of dab some on to the top part there. And then just let it sit until it's really completely dry, because you just don't want to put them together into the case until that's done, right? So, that's all you're going to do.
Such a smart idea.
So that's all you're going to do is just leave it like that. And then I think that was everything I wanted to show you guys.
Yay.
So, why would you mark them? To make sure you get your orientation right.
Yeah. So you don't have to sit there and figure it out. And, you automatically know, you just plunk it down. Ping, ping.
Exactly. And you're not having to go through the process of like, wait a minute, which side do the legs on the K go? Do they go to the left or they go to the right? Right. Like you have to mentally write the letter so that
yes.
And instead of having to do that. Now, there are some times when you actually want to turn the stamp the other way up, right? Because the way I do stamping is I figure out what the text is of the thing I'm going to stamp. I find where the middle is. And then because I'm left-handed, I hold the stamps in my right hand and the hammer in my left. I will stamp the right hand end, the right hand half of the text, right? Then I rotate my object around. Rotate all my stamps 180 degrees. So then my little green mark would be facing away from me. And then I stamp the left hand going from the middle, but I'm moving to the right, right? Because the reason I do that is because I want to be able to see, my hand is in the way, and I want to be able to see the edge of the stamp and how close it is to the previous letter.
Yeah.
Right? So for left-handed people, find the middle of your stamp phrase. Sorry, for right-handed people, I'm left-handed. So for right-handed people, find the middle of your phrase, take the stamp in your left hand, stamp from the middle to the left, right? So this is another reason why you want to write it down, right? Because it is super easy to misspell.
Oh gosh, yes. Easy.
I've done it.
It's like bad tattoos.
But way worse. Well, actually, way better, because the tattoo is really permanent. With the stamping, usually you could, start again. But yeah, stamp from the middle to the left. And so pay attention to what your letters are. Rotate your object. So now the blank part is again to your left, right? And then that way, then you'll be stamping, upside down again.
Yeah.
You have to rotate your stamps. But that way you can get everything, especially if you're trying to line something in the middle of like a bracelet blank or, you know, I'm about
Not
to,
something that you're going to then saw out and then apply,
exactly,
you're actually doing it on the main body of the piece and you want to make sure that it's all perfect.
exactly. Exactly. And there are other tricks too, and we will definitely talk about some of those in terms of how to line stuff up and whatnot. But I'm getting ready to do the pierced tea light collect.
I know, I'm so excited.
I'm
It's
super
such
excited
a
about
great
this.
project.
It's been really fun. I've made a bunch of them. You have one,
I
Jennifer has
have one.
two. Some lucky person. I don't remember now who got the first one I made was for the Seattle Metals Guild ornament party, and I don't remember who got
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I'm gonna make some more. So they're really fun. They're tab thing, but in the with a cylinder, and so you can stamp on them. So we're gonna talk more in that about tips for stamping. But
Yes.
before you even start, when you get your stamps, wipe the oil off them, check them for
If
rust.
there is any. Yep.
If there is any, check them for rust. Check all four sides. Check them for rust, and then mark them, and then you'll be ready to go. So you'll be all. No. I don't. Do you have any stamps that fall into this category, or are all the ones that you got? Are they all?
Oh no, I've got plenty. They're packed away right now, but I've got plenty that have been custom made, and so they don't have the logo or the orientation marked on them at all. And so I'm always having to, double
Right.
check.
Right.
And so this is such a great idea to do that and
And you
get
can also
that
just
orientation easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's
you can also just file a thumb notch into them. Like I have
yeah.
a custom stamp, and I really should do this. I have a custom stamp for my logo for my
For my logo. Yeah.
my initials and the little bat. And I really should make the effort and like file a
Yeah,
little.
because they're only hardened like just at the end. They're not hardened up at the top. So
Exactly. So the shank of the stamp should still be
soft enough to file.
soft metal,
Yeah.
and so you can cut it with any. I mean, you'll know because if you run a file,
Yeah. It won't. It won't.
right, you get this glassy sound. It won't cut. It's like, well, not cutting that. But nail polish works great too. And then the upside of nail polish too is if by any chance you've screwed up and put the mark on the wrong side,
Yes. Acetone. Done.
then
Or even more nail polish. Done.
exactly,
Wipe it off. Start over.
it does happen, right? There's a jewelry instructor, she's written a lot of articles and stuff, who famously like did the X and her name sideways at one point, and she just like was like just owned it, and so then she just started doing it
Nice.
really, right? Because it's like, well, whatever. So anyway, so that's our tooltip for today.
Yay.
All right.
All right.
You were saying you have some, but none of the stamps you got from Impress are fall into this category this way.
No, I think they all will have. I've packed them all up since I'm heading back to London tomorrow.
Right.
But I think they're all marked and so they'll be easy to orient in the correct way. So yeah, I'll just show real quick. I got, this guy. I'm really excited about the texture hammer because for me, I would do a lot more texturing than regular stamping, but I did get some cute things that I want to make some things out. And then I got the 3-pack of hammers.
Yes, and
I think these hammers are so sexy. I was just like, okay, I got to get this.
well, good. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see what you're up to. So
yes, and that will be pretty easy to do without having to unpack all my studio. I can do a little testing while we're waiting to move.
while you're waiting to move, yeah. And then you'll get to unpack everything. So
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. Any comments from YouTube?
Nope, it was just Valerie saying hey, and of course we love Valerie and all our Foxy students. So come check us out in Open Studio and in all our other classes on littlemetalfoxes.com.
There you go.
And
like and subscribe
every Tuesday. Yeah, like, subscribe, everything. Do the thing. You know what to do.
You know what to do. Yeah, we don't need to tell you. You know what to do. All right. We'll see you next week.